Hey everyone, okay, so good morning, or at least it is here. Today I want to talk to you about some of the absolute bullshit that I've spoken to you throughout the years. So let's make a start. When I come on a video and talk to you about things, I honestly am coming from a really good place and I'm trying to bring you information that I think is really relevant. But sometimes that information changes or my feelings change or my preferences change. So let's talk about some changes. First one is eye creams. For years I said they were absolute nonsense and don't bother, just use your regular moisturizer. Of course I had never tried an eye cream, which was why I was saying, and of course what happens is I read things that correspond to how I feel and I'm like, I've got validation. So it wasn't until I tried eye creams that guess what? They really did make a difference. So my take on eye creams is that they actually work. The two that I use are so good and overjoyed with them. I'll put some links in the description bar as well. But really, really good. Totally one thing I've changed. The other thing that it really has changed is I always said that face masks were absolute nonsense because it's not what you do once a week that matters. It's what you do every day. But face masks have made a huge difference to my skin. I have been struggling with skin issues for about 6 months now with regards to breakouts. And face masks have been the one thing that has made the most impact on my skin. And I'll do a video about that another time. But they've made a huge difference to my skin, the face masks. Who knew? See, this is why it's so important to update things as well. And also when to say, you know what, I was wrong. So face masks, eye creams, really important. Another thing that's important is my ability to think beyond what I want to see, which is with regards to what I mentioned about eye creams. I would look at the evidence that supported my case and not look at evidence that may be new. I would just go back to what I knew. And actually it was Caroline O'Hearns that mentioned this. She has absolutely no idea I'm even speaking of this, but a couple of years ago she had a conversation with me with regards to some product ingredients. I was like, they're very bad. She was like, the research doesn't show that anymore. And the people that you were referring to are looking at old, outdated research and not updating it. And she was absolutely right. And it opened my eyes up to a whole new world of skincare. I no longer judge skincare if it has fragrance in. Personally speaking, I'm not a massive fan of fragrance in skincare. Not because I think it irritates the skin, which I'm sure it does, but because it irritates my nose. And certain fragrances, particularly floral fragrances, give me a headache. And it can make it last for days and days on end, which is why I tend to avoid strong fragrances in skincare. I had a very long conversation once with a very big cosmetic company, and I asked them why they kept using their floral scent, and they said, because women like it. If we took it out, they wouldn't like it. What can you say? What can you say? This one is so cool, and I just had to take a tiny second there to think. I've always said, apply a matte eyeshadow to the crease of the eye, particularly if you've got hooded eyes or aging eyes. I've had the opportunity to work with some of the most amazing and talented makeup artists in the world, and they apply eyeshadow shimmer sometimes from the lash line all the way up to the eyebrow, and I was like, oh, you can't do that. Bear in mind that we're talking about that I was self-taught from books and then went to makeup school, and it was always shadow, 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 matte, matte, matte. Now, I have applied shimmer to hooded eyes on women of 40, 50 and 60 years old, and it looks wonderful. It doesn't make their eyes look horrendously crepey or crinkly or all those ugly things. It just makes their eyes really pretty. And this was probably my die-hard rule. Even on youngsters, I would be like, I'm putting matte there. But some people don't want matte eyeshadow. What they want is for their eyes to sparkle. And if it's good enough for some of the biggest names in the world of makeup, then hey, it's time to rethink my approach. And I'll be honest with you, a wash of shimmer all over the eye looks so beautiful, regardless of if you are 60, 70 or 80 years old. It makes the eyes sparkle, and if it makes you happy, fuck it. There are of course some things that never change. I'm not a big fan of really strong eyebrows with a really strong eye look. Just not a fan. Nothing wrong with it, not a fan. But again, I've got a video coming up on that. It's just not a massive fan because I think that you've got two things that are very strong and the eyes tend to want to focus on one thing. Also, blusher. I have always said that you should never apply blusher when smiling because when you smile, Let me just grab a trusted brush. This is my brush. You can buy it now. Link in the description bar. When you smile, the apple of the cheek rises. So as you start to apply it, smiling, and then stop, the blusher goes lower down and goes lower down towards the mouth area, and that is a technique used in theatre to aid you. I've always said don't apply it. However, applying blusher to the apples of the cheeks does work on really round, full cheeks. My friend Mandy is a great example of blusher on the apples of the cheeks. It works really well because the cheeks are so large that it doesn't look horrendous or anything like that. But for the bulk of the time, I still prefer to put blusher where I want to put it, which is around about here in this area on the cheekbone. Then people say to me, well, where do you put highlighter? You put it on the cheekbone, the whole thing marries together. It becomes a marriage of happiness as opposed to convenience. And that's it, that really is. I wanted to share it with you because sometimes I always want to give you the true information, but sometimes I am wrong and you need to hold your hands up and say, guess what, it isn't correct. And certain things that I've said over the years, I have been basing it off evidence of people that I really respect and not the updated evidence of skincare, makeup and techniques, because I've got stuck in a rut and the only way to get out of that is to experience new things. Let me know any things that you have changed throughout the years that you never used to do but you do now. Please put them in the comment section because I will read them, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you, bye-bye.